This is Khallid giving a shout out to Baba TV. Keep it going, keep educating the people. We appreciate you. Yes, sir.
Appreciate what Maestro just said about community. You know, a community is not just a group of people living together. A lot of times, you know, in the hood, you know, we say we love, we say that we love the hood, you know, but you know, a community is a unit. It's not just, okay, a group of people living together, living in the same geographic area, living in the same area. You know, a community is that area, but we know the name of all the children that are in the area. You know, we look out for all of them. You know what I mean? And so, Love Your People's Day, you know, a community is based on, and a community operates on the principle of love. And the love is not something that's emotional and mushy. Love is something that presumes sacrifice. It presumes that everybody involved is willing to sacrifice something of their personal selves for the greater whole. And that's what we're here to promote. That being said, one of our best and brightest servants to humanity, specifically to Syracuse native, and serves the city of Syracuse, is here today to give us a few words on that first principle of love. Let's all welcome 4th District Councilor Khallid Bey.
Sure. All right. I don't need it, but I'm gonna use it. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Yeah, I'm loud. First and foremost, let me start off by expressing my appreciation to Brother A. Sean Bey, Sharif Bey, and others, the Life Foundation, others involved in Love Your People Day. It's my second time attending, and you know, I look forward to us making it bigger and better. We talked about that a few minutes ago. I want to say though, my message is always to the adults, because everything starts with us. This is the reason for my express appreciation for the gentlemen and ladies, if any are involved, for doing this kind of work, because it's really us who are the vanguards for what, or at least the guide for what our children, if you will, can do the next day or do tomorrow. Often on the subject of love our people, and I say it with a smirk because there's some sarcasm in my speech when I say it. You know, I think one of the struggles we tend to run into is the fact that, and I was talking about this earlier with the gentleman with the camera and a few others, is that there's so many people with a solution to what they believe is our problem. You know, and it's always interesting that the inability, if you will, to set aside all things personal for, I won't use the same old term for the greater good, but that's essentially where I'm going, is essentially a struggle for most people. You know, I think one thing that's very important, just beginning with us as individuals, is to realize a couple of things. One, you know, the idea of cultural difference or even ethnic difference, and I'm talking specifically to the variation of colors, if you will. The understanding starts as a personal responsibility for every person in this room. You know, I always do, I was a keynote speaker at an MLK event in Binghamton, New York. A pretty diverse crowd, and I asked the question to everybody in the room, and I'll pose it to the adults in here. If you've ever sized a person up based on ethnicity or culture, raise your hand. Stop lying. Put your hand in the air. Because everybody in this room has done it. Now, let me clarify for you what that is. That is what we call racial prejudice. And unless you realize you're guilty of it, then you'll never become responsible for dealing with it. So it has to be clear that the need for improvement starts with ourselves. It's a personal responsibility. And that same respect for the adults, the significance that these teenagers are chasing, they're chasing because they haven't found it at home. You know, so essentially, and not to get too psychological on people in the building, but you have what's called, or what's considered, the two most vulnerable times in development. From birth to 3 years old, and then from 14 to 17 years old. It's when the minds are most impressionable. And so if a teenager or a preteen who's leaving the house at 12 years old, and up until that point, the only love they've understood was that they got from family, now ventures out into the world in an effort to establish themselves, and the greatest example they have is their peers in the junior high school. Because they haven't received that foundation at home, then the likelihood is your kid will come home different than when they were before they left. You know, I think we have to be responsible in that respect first in our own homes. I see a lot of parents as a counselor who talk about the need to solve violence and their kids run the street with pistols. True story. The parent is talking to us, but their kid is outside busting the gun. You know, so oftentimes we have to practice what we preach. You know, you can't provide a solution for me you haven't found for yourself. So if you're not delivering that solution at home with your own kids, you don't need to be outside trying to tell other people's kids what to do. You need to solve it at home first. You know, and if we can take, in that same respect, the same way that ethnic differences and the need for understanding is a personal responsibility, the effort to improve our children is equally a personal responsibility for each of us as adults. If we can succeed at home, then we can effectively tell somebody else how to succeed. Does that make sense? Yes, sir. You can't feed me if you don't have food. You can't pay me if you don't have money. You got to figure it out at your own house first before you try to share it with everybody else. And I think if we do that, we'll go a long way in solving our problem. The last thing I'll say in this respect is we have to have the patience to appreciate incremental victories. You have to have the patience to appreciate small victories. The idea that 7 billion people will resurrect in a short amount of time is impractical and biologically impossible. So you have to have the appreciation to raise a person at a time. You know, oftentimes when we engage in this kind of work, we get a little discouraged. Because the very people we're attempting to save, they do a number of things. One, they may fall off the wagon. Two, they may turn the barrel on us. Three, they just may not listen at all. Right? But it's a thing we say amongst me and some of my colleagues, we have no lust for result. It's the process that we appreciate. And it's when you fall in love with the process that you're almost guaranteed at least a respectable outcome. Don't be preoccupied with the outcome. It may not look the way you want it to look. Right. But progress is the only thing that matters. Let me know if I'm losing you. You with me?
Yes, sir. That's right.
Can I make one statement on government?
Please.
All right. Here's the deal. We manage your money. You got to understand that. We manage your cash. Period. I'm talking to the grown people. That's anybody 18 and over. We manage your cash. Now, let me put it in perspective for you. If you're starting a business and you need to put together a board of trustees or anything similar, you don't put strangers on your board.
No.
You put people on your board who you believe will effectively manage your money, or that can effectively raise your money so that your business can function. Right?
Yes, sir.
A usual example I give me $500 a piece right now. Let me invest it on your behalf. Nobody's moving. Right? I wouldn't move either. Here's the thing though. You pump thousands of dollars annually into this system and you never follow your money. You got to understand what that means. We are literally using your cash. Put that in perspective. When you think about your tax bills, your water bill, your electric bill, because we collect taxes on all of it. The soda you about to buy at the store, the soda getting you two ways. One, we're getting your taxes. Two, you're going to get acid reflux. Right?
Yeah.
We're using your money to effectively manage your assets. The sidewalk is yours. The grass is yours. The trees are yours.
That's right.
You are a property owner,
Yes.
whether actual or not. This is your stuff. So there's no way in the world I'm going to give you my money and not make sure that you're intelligently investing my money.
Yes.
Government, despite what anybody wants to hear, is a business. Right? Let me make it clear for you. It's a business. What we sell are services that you pay for whether you want to or not. Even when our services are no good, you can't opt to take your money and go elsewhere.
No.
Because wherever you go, you're still going to pay for bad services. Right? So on our part, the least we can do is do our best to make sure the services are adequate. But you, though, should also make sure the services are adequate. In our neighborhoods, we shouldn't accept cracked sidewalks.
That's right. No.
If you're a renter, squeal on your landlord. We'll get him.
There you go.
True story. If you're the landlord, it's you we coming to get. Fix the sidewalk. Alright? There's no reason your street should never be plowed.
That's right.
You already paid for it. Prepaid. So if they ain't plowing your street, you need to call somebody. Now, if you live on a small street over in the corner, they're going to get to you. It's going to be a while. Because they got to get the main strips.
Yeah.
But you already paid for it. Right? The garbage man who throws your garbage can in the middle of the street and it gets ran over and broken, you need to tell on him too.
That's right.
They threw my garbage can in the street. They got me a new garbage can. But that's my property. One of the responsibilities of government is to secure your property, including the police. Right? Police can't take your cell phone and throw it down the street and not pay for it.
Come on.
It's just things people don't know. We manage your assets. I was talking to the brother saying that one of the failures of government was the fact that it failed at keeping people abreast and acclimated to government and its processes. That's our fault. Part of it's your fault too. I blame most of it on us though. So, you know, again, I want to thank the brothers for putting this on. Thank them for inviting me to speak briefly. I'm not trying to put the kids to sleep, but I can't stress enough the importance of understanding how this thing works. You know, and I'll crack the joke I always cracked. I cracked it with my brother with the camera, and I'll crack it now because I think it's funny myself. You know, I liken, or I always compare a person's misunderstanding, and Brother Sharif heard this, and Ashawn as well. You know, the tendency of the individual to saddle a cat under the perception that it is a horse, and then gets upset when it doesn't perform like a horse. That is how most people treat government. They think government is a community center or a social services program. Wrong move. We accept your cash and we spend it to pay for services. Very last thing I'm going to say, period. I swear I'm going to shut up after this. But you need to know it. Because how many people in here pay taxes? Everybody's hands should go up, even the kids, right? Because you go buy them chips, you pay them taxes. Right? So everybody in here pay taxes. This thing you have to understand. We got 3 primary public programs in government by law. Roads and infrastructure, education, and health care. Hear this. Anytime there's a cut to education, or you have the beautiful roads like we have, or you have loss in health care costs for people, for families, all other public programs are in trouble. So when you see nonprofits folding, when you see forced consolidation, when you see the community centers disappear, this is why they disappeared. They may not come back. There's always the demand from the community, or the government, to take care of their kids. Why don't you give us a community center so my kid can go over there and I ain't got to deal with them? Those days are over. That was FDR, 1933.
That's right.
Government is not funding community centers no more. You know, I'm just telling you what the rest of them are not telling you. They're not doing it. I'm just telling you the truth. You know, when you have those 3 public programs in trouble, all programs are done. You got to know that. because you have to learn to adjust to the circumstances. So while we may not have community centers, we got Love Your People Day.
That's right. Right.
We got the Good Life Foundation.
Yes.
We got Syracuse Kung Fu.
Yes.
We got to learn how to adjust. We got to make things better. But most importantly, we got to be responsible. Key word for a lifetime is discipline. It takes discipline to draw a straight line.
Definitely.
Right? It takes discipline to be attentive. How many people are paying attention? Even the kids raise their hands. I appreciate that. Thanks again. I appreciate it. Everybody enjoy the rest of the day.
Everybody give our counsel another hand. He said a number of things that were incredibly important for you to know. Okay? Participate, please. Participate in your own affairs. Please participate. Vote. But I'm not just saying vote just because you can vote. I'm saying a community has the same issues. Who remembers, I know you remember this, The Message by Melly Mel, right? Right? Why was that song so powerful and that song so significant? It's because when you looked outside your window in Syracuse, New York, you saw the same thing that I saw in the Bronx, or the same thing he saw in Brooklyn, or the same thing you may have seen in Maryland. Broken glass everywhere, right? Yeah. In other words, the issues that I have are the same issues that you have, and the same issues that you have, and the same issues our children have. So it makes sense that we would come together, address our common issues, develop an agenda that alleviates our problems collectively, and then use our collective muscle to speak to gentlemen and brothers like this gentleman to make it a reality. This is what we mean by engage in the affairs of men. And this is what we don't do. Like what the brother was just saying earlier. This is what we need to do. This is what Love Your People's Day is all about. About community, but real community. Alright. My name, if you don't know, my name is Sharif Bey. I'm the owner of Syracuse Kung Fu. This is where you are right now. You're in a Kung Fu school. Sign up if you didn't know. Everybody here, speaking of that, speaking of signing up for class, how many people here like Kung Fu? Let me ask a better question. How many people love Kung Fu? Before you answer the question, understand that those weapons on the corner are real. How many of you love Kung Fu? Yeah, I thought so. All right. Everybody, before you leave, there is a sheet over at that front desk. Please put your name and email down, because you have, just for being here today, won a free month at Syracuse Kung Fu. A free month. I should do some clapping right now. Actual fact, put your name down on the sheet. You've won a free month. A free month here. For the children too. For the children too. Technically, we don't take them younger than 5, but I have a few old people in little tiny 4-year-old bodies, so bring them down. Everybody have a good time?
Yes.
Everybody had a good time? Yes. Very good, very good, very good.